Hello fourth graders, and welcome to your first video on how to draw a room in perspective, 1-point perspective. You're going to need a ruler and a pencil today. Make sure you have a good eraser. If your eraser is hard and it doesn't seem to want to erase, I have plenty of big erasers up front on the front table that you can take and use instead of using the pencil eraser, because sometimes these are hardened and because they're old and they don't work anymore. But once you get your paper, your ruler, and your pencil, you are going to draw the vanishing point on your paper. Now, the vanishing point is the center of your paper where everything vanishes to. So to find the exact center of your paper, we have to measure. Now, I already know that the paper itself is 18 inches long. So if you think about what half of 18 is, that's 9. So if I put my ruler so that the 0 is on the edge of my paper, I count down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and I make a light line right there. Doesn't matter where on the paper it is, I'm just trying to make a mark where my measurement is. So that's half of my paper width-wise. Height-wise, I'm going to lay my ruler again with the 0 at the top, because the 0 doesn't go to the edge of the ruler, it starts here. So I got to make sure that the 0 is at the top, and then I'm going to move my ruler so that it is up against that mark that I just made, going the other direction. And I'm going to figure out what half of 12 is. Half of 12 is 6. So right here, where the 6 is, I'm going to make a little dot. That is the center of your paper, not the line that you made before, but right there is the center of your paper. So make a little dot right there. Make it sure it's visible because you're going to be using it quite often in your drawing. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to make the back wall of your room. The back wall of your room is a rectangle, and I don't want you to make it too big, because if you make it too big, you won't have enough room to put paintings on your walls or ceiling or floor. But I also don't want you to make it too tiny so that you can't see anything that's on your back wall. So I want you to kind of keep it somewhere in the 6 to 8 inches range in the middle of your paper. Okay? So what I like to do is take my ruler and try and line it up so it's parallel to the top of my paper. Now you're just eyeballing it, which means that you're guessing that it is as straight to the top of your paper as you can make it. So this part of my ruler here should be as parallel to the top of my paper as I can. Make sure that your vanishing point is in the center of your rectangle. Doesn't matter how long you make your room or how long you make this line. You can always adjust it later if you want it to be smaller. But what you need to do is make sure that you draw lightly so that when you erase it, you don't see it. Okay? If you draw too dark, you're going to see all of your lines, and it's going to make your picture look a little bit messy. Next thing, I'm going to draw the bottom part of my rectangle. Again, I want my ruler to be parallel to the bottom of my paper, but also parallel to this line that I just drew. I'm going to try and make it the same length as well. Okay, once you have that done, you are going to draw the sides. Now I'm going to shorten it up a little bit, and I'm going to make a light line that goes straight up and down. The reason why I know that that line is straight up and down is because my ruler is lined up at the top of my paper. It's not crooked. It's also lined up at the bottom of my paper. It's not crooked down here either. Now let me show you what a crooked line looks like. That doesn't look right. It needs to be straight. So I'm going to line up my ruler on the bottom and the top of my paper, and I'm going to make a new line. And now that looks parallel and like a perfect rectangle. I'm going to erase this extra part here since I shrunk my rectangle a little bit smaller than what I thought it was going to be. And there's my back wall of my art gallery right now. Now it looks like just a floating wall. What we need to do now is we need to connect the vanishing point with the corner and draw a line for the walls on the side of our room. So I'm matching up my ruler with the vanishing point and the corner. I'll move my ruler down a little bit. So my ruler is touching the vanishing point and the corner, and I'm going to go from that corner out to the edge of the paper. It does not have to match up with the corner of your paper. A lot of people think it does, but it does not. Next thing I'm going to do is this corner. Again, matching up my ruler with the vanishing point, the corner, drawing a line. Start to see the room form. I'm going to do the same thing here and in all four corners. Vanishing point, corner, line. Vanishing point, corner, stretch out my ruler a little bit, and then my line. If you don't match it up with the vanishing point, your room will not look like it's a real three-dimensional room. It has to line up with the vanishing point in order for it to look visually correct. That is how you draw a room in one-point perspective. The next video, we'll talk about how to add paintings onto the walls.